We often say that it's the leaders who create experiences, experiences create cultures, and cultures drive business performance.
So, culture is a very misused, misunderstood word. I've seen cultures confused with values. Work culture is something that binds people together to work towards the end goal of the organization.
Hmm.
Traveling in
Yeah,
a car, but the steering can't be in three hands,
yeah.
the brakes can't be under 3 feet. So, there has to be one owner of a project. So, which is why we adopted our work culture words were collaborate, experiment, own. And then subsequently, we added speed to that.
Okay.
So, we became CEOs, all of us,
From one to many.
from one to many.
What is it that you look for a leader that you want to hire in your team for?
Attitude, attitude, attitude. Because, most of the time, you don't even know the kind of problems you'll face, and problems you'll face every day.
Yeah.
You approach the problem by saying, oh shit, problem हो गई. तो आधा battle तो वहीं गया. But if you say, okay, problem हो गई, fine, let's find a way.
Hello and welcome to the For All podcast by Great Place to Work India. I am Balbir Singh, CEO of Great Place to Work in India and your host for the day. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Harit Nagpal. Harit is a CEO of Tata Play and he has been at the helm of the affairs for more than a decade. We'll learn from him and just share some thoughts on what makes Tata Play a great place to work and also an organization that has gone through multiple changes, with the advent of OTT and how that has impacted, the way you run your business. So Harit, before we go into our conversation, tell me something that only you can tell. I can Google Harit Nagpal and know a lot of things about you, your LinkedIn profile, when you joined, your 4 decades of experience. But tell us something, what got you here that only you can tell us, and some brief about your intro and bio.
Well, the intro and bio is available on LinkedIn, so anybody can check
Yeah.
out from there. But yeah, people of my generation really uh, grew up in an India which was not as affluent as it is today.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, when I was growing up, you were either middle class or lower middle class. There's even the term upper middle class was restricted to very few people. So I remember very well. So half my schooling was in a small town called Roorkee in UP,
Hmm.
which at that time had a population of 50,000.
Okay.
And 50,000 is a village today. And the other half was in Delhi, a large town. So I experienced both of those while growing up.
Hmm.
And that era, every 10th home probably had a TV,
Hmm.
every 20th home probably had a refrigerator, and every 30th home probably had a landline phone. So the thing was that if it was a Sunday evening Doordarshan movie, then the two homes in your lane, which you lived in, all the kids in the lane would go and flock in those two homes and watch the film. Uh, if on a summer afternoon you felt thirsty and you felt hot, the one home in your lane that had a refrigerator was happy to offer you ice
Yep.
if you wanted it to all the other 20 homes. And the one home that had a phone was happy to host calls,
Yeah.
incoming calls for people who had people living overseas or outside the city. So that was the kind of a community we lived in. If there was a wedding in the same lane, then almost everybody's bedroom, spare bedroom, was used for the guests who came in from
Yeah.
outside. Our vacations were not to exotic places or to hotels. We went to our relatives' places, and our relatives came to our place.
Yeah.
So we were like relatives Airbnb kind of. So net, we grew up in a very collectivist kind of, not very individualistic like we
Hmm.
live in
Yeah.
today. Our, our generation's growth was at least in a very collectivist, and especially if you lived in a smaller town, that kind of a thing. So you learned the art of or the benefits of collaboration very early in life. That
Hmm.
one man alone cannot run a house. A village can run
Yeah. Yeah.
grow you up.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of principles you came into the workplace also
Yeah.
when you came in there, and that's helped. That's helped become what we have become or make the companies that we worked for.
Hmm. I think that reminds me of something my ex-boss used to tell me. Especially when you're growing up in an environment like that, kaddu katega to sab mein batega.
सब में बटेगा.
Exactly. So when
Absolutely
you
right.
cut that, I think that's how a lot of us have grown up, and you can still see that in a lot of the organizations,
I
and
see
the
that in
leader.
organization that I live in Bombay, and
Yeah.
Bombay is 50% buildings and 50% slums.
Hmm.
And I see a lot of that behavior in the slums even today.
Yeah.
When a festival is celebrated together, when there are more community events that they hold in a week than large buildings probably hold in a year.
Yeah.
So that feeling is still there in those places, and kids who come out of those slums really are again going to be very collaborative when they grow up.
Yeah.
Unlike the Western individualistic kind of experience, outlook that most of the buildings have.
Hmm. Hmm. So, c- coming back from, when you were growing up and to now that you are leading a, big organization as part of the Tata Group, uh, what are some of the things? One is collaboration, you know. What are some of the things that you have carried through your journey of being a leader? And what are some of the things and how have those impacted you in your journey as a leader?
Yeah, so over the years, what has really changed is, when you started working, and strangely, I complete 40 years of work experience today.
Oh, okay.
And without even a break of 1 week between the two jobs, any two jobs.
Okay.
So it's been 40 continuous years of working. And one has seen many winters in this process.
Hmm.
So initially, this country would have had either a concentration of licenses or technology or capital or by virtue of monopolies, ability to control the prices or ability to control the distribution. All those things have completely vanished now.
Yeah.
There's hardly any industry that is licensed, and even if it is licensed, license is available for a pittance to anybody
Hmm.
who walks in.
Yeah.
Technology is not restricted; it's available to everybody. If you have a half-baked business case, also you'll have people wanting to fund you.
Hmm.
Distribution is immense, online and offline both. Price is equal to what the lowest competitor is charging.
Hmm.
So none of these are, unique advantages that anybody has. Then how do you differentiate in a market like
Yeah.
this? How do you build a better brand which is liked by more people? I think it's your understanding of people,
Hmm.
people as customers, and people within the organization that create the product, the quality, the brand that you create. And I think that's the only differentiator you have.
Hmm.
And that's been my learning through the years of opening of India's economy. And that's what we focused on constantly. It's about creating a culture within the organization that differentiates you and understanding the customer better
Yeah.
and creating products and services for them which they want, which solve their lives or problems they face in their lives, rather than just banking on technology to serve them
Hmm.
through technology.
We often say that it's the leaders who create experiences, experiences create cultures, and cultures drive business performance. And that's exactly what you told me just
Exactly
now.
that.
Exactly,
It's
right?
in different words, exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I listen whenever I speak to any leader. That's something we hear consistently, reverberate across all the leaders. Doesn't matter someone who has spent 4 decades in the business or someone who has spent, 4 years in the business. But when it comes to business performance, and when you say it depends on the culture, what are those cultural principles that you have that you swear by and see, if there is a leader who is displaying those behaviors, then if not now, later, sometime or the later, leader will be successful. He might be going through tough times right now, but what are some of the tenets that a leader displays that makes you confident about that leader? And you must have some of those leaders in your team also.
So, culture is a very misused, misunderstood word.
Yeah.
Very often, I've seen cultures confused with values.
Hmm.
Now, values are things that you must have. So, when you go across to an organization and ask, okay, what's the work culture? First of all, you can never When it comes to an organization, you can't use the word culture, you have to use the word work culture.
Hmm.
Culture alone signifies something else.
Yeah.
When you're working in an organization with the purpose of building a company, a business with a good bottom line, then you have to have work culture
Yeah.
to support that task. Work culture is something that binds people together to work towards the end goal of the organization.
Hmm.
So, therefore, an organization's work culture, if it was to be defined in two, three, four words, would be those words which would galvanize people to work towards the end goal of the organization, the end objective of the organization. So, that depends on what life stage of the industry life cycle are you in or are you
Hmm.
at that time. For example, we were very clear at Tata Play. We struggled with the work culture words for a long time, saying, and then we had a very reasoned out uh, thought process of defining our three words.
Hmm.
And those, for us, given where we were, was A, collaborate, because we were in a tech based, virtually delivered category,
Yeah.
which required collaboration between various functions from the time of inception to creation to delivery.
Hmm.
And all these had to be involved all the time. People couldn't come in later
Yeah.
at some stage. Or because the canvas was wide open, unless you tried and failed, there was no hope in life to fill that canvas
Hmm.
well in time. So we said you need to experiment, fail fast, and
Yeah.
try new things after that.
Yeah.
Or you had to have ownership.
Hmm.
Because every time you ask somebody, okay, who's in charge of this, either no hand went up or three hands went up.
Hmm.
Now, all three people can be driving a car, traveling in
Yeah.
a car, but the steering can't be in three hands.
Yeah.
The brakes can't be under 3 feet. So there has to be one owner of a project. So, which is why we adopted our work culture words were collaborate, experiment, own. And then subsequently we added speed to that.
Okay.
So we became CEOs, all of us,
From one to many.
from one to many. So these are our culture words. And you can choose your culture words. But culture words are not words like honest uh, or fair or these kinds
Or
of words.
integrity,
These are
being
values our
regular.
mothers
Yeah.
taught them. These are basics. You have to have them before you come to any organization.
Yeah.
That's-
So, some thought comes to my mind when you say CEO change to CEOs. Does that also mean that's how the organization is run? Like you have people who are accountable for their own businesses, the decision making sits with them, it's all decentralized, and they know what are the guardrails that are set, or how do you execute with this organization? Is there one CEO sitting at the top, Harit, dictating everything and saying this is how it should be done? Or you create a vision for the organization and then every CEO is responsible for meeting their organizational
See,
goals?
those days of somebody dictating are over. And they
Yeah.
got over many, many decades ago,
Yeah.
actually. We lingered on with them in some places, are still lingering on with them, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Life is collaborative. Idea can come from any level.
Yeah.
So, which is why you have to work in small teams, and everything is project based.
Hmm.
And every project has a, like you said, owner.
Yeah.
Some days, a person three bands below you is an owner of the project, and he has to lead that project group
Yeah.
while everybody collaborates and contributes
Yeah.
equally. And some days there is somebody who's senior to you is a part of is leading that group.
Hmm.
So the leading is not done by rank. Leading is done by whose role, whose function, whose main role it is
Hmm.
that the project group is fulfilling.
Yeah.
And another thing that has happened over the years is that uncertainties or disasters or disruptions don't come with a notice.
Hmm.
You don't even know. For example, when COVID happened, could
Yeah.
any one of us have ever imagined that there would be something called the COVID?
Hmm.
Spanish flu had happened about 100 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'd read, some of us had read about it in the books. I don't think most people were aware of the fact also.
Exactly.
When COVID happened, could you have done some business continuity planning keeping COVID in mind? So when COVID happened and the organizations that were able to leap up and rise up to face it and respond to it were actually the ones which had lean, flat structure,
Hmm.
an empowered frontline, and a collaborative culture who were able to respond. And the ones who had a bureaucratic, multi layered structure
Yeah.
where the decisions were made only at the top,
Yeah.
and every small decision went all the way to the top and then got ratified and came down, probably waited for the vaccine to be invented before they could recover. So that's what it is. On an ongoing basis, also, you have to have flat, lean structures, empowered frontline, and a collaborative culture.
Hmm.
And that's how things are run.
So, Harit, I remember most of our disaster recovery and BCP plans were had a lifespan of 1 day to 1 week. Nobody thought that we will have to go through something like a force major measure like this for years. But when you create a culture where decision making happens at different levels and you define who are the owners, how do you create that feeling of safety net in your employees that, you know, if I were to create a make a mistake, I am the owner. I will not be held accountable. I'll be held accountable, but I will not be punished for making that honest mistake because an honest mistake, I was trying to do something good. So how do you create that culture of safety net in your employees?
So when you define your culture as CEO, the middle name there is experimenting.
Hmm.
When you explain experimenting, you also say that if I have two people at the time of appraisal,
Yeah.
one who's achieved 10 on 10 on the four projects that he did,
Hmm.
and the other achieved 10 on 10 on two, but he failed on two.
Hmm.
And then if I have one sweet to distribute, who will I give it to
Hmm.
between the two?
Hmm.
And to me, it will not go to the person who's got 10 on 10 on all four projects,
Hmm.
but it will go to the person who's failed on two.
Hmm.
Because that's a very clear significance. It just signifies to me that you stretched yourself.
Hmm.
You tried hard. You got into uncharted territories
Hmm.
and failed in a couple and did the other two well.
Hmm.
Whereas you can not stretch yourself, play safe,
Yeah.
and succeed on all four you tried.
Yeah.
So, unless you fail, and as a mandate, we're saying it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
And if you fail, you will not be reprimanded
Hmm.
or punished.
Yeah.
In fact, fail quickly.
Hmm. But then again, the challenge with lot of employees face is how do you identify what is fail quickly? We always have that, what's that sunk cost? And then you keep, is it the right time to call it quits? Is it the right time to call it quits? By the time you are decided, now this is now the right time to call it quits, you have had lot of, sunk cost that has gone
So
in.
you have to review and you have to set examples there.
Hmm.
कि बस अब हो गया इसको
Ah,
बंद करते हैं.
okay.
And the better way to do that is if you have a good idea, don't experiment with it nationally.
Hmm.
Experiment with it locally.
Yeah.
And if it works, then spread it to a region and then to half the country and then the whole country.
Yeah.
Rather than going the whole
So
country.
something that you run in stealth mode for some time locally, and then if only if it is successful, then you
So that's why you have
basically,
so many experiments
yeah,
going on all the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, 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 yeah. And Harit, you have worked across industries. You worked in marketing and sales departments. You worked in FMCG. What are the some of the things that do not change, does not matter what industry you work in? That can be applied whether I am in Tata Play or I'm in Marico or somebody or someplace else.
the decision making process of the consumer.
Hmm.
Because, over the 40 years, I've worked in six industries. The last one has been 15 years, but prior to that, it was 5 to 6 years in each
Yeah.
industry. And I worked in different industries every time I changed my job. And every time I changed my job and got to a new industry, they said, हाँ, वो जो आप कह रहे हैं ना, वो दूसरी industry, this industry is unique. Everybody thinks his industry is unique.
Hmm.
And my only question to them is, boss, who buys your product? The same person
Hmm.
who buys a cola, a candy, buys an airline ticket, opens a bank account, gets a life insurance, Same person, no? And also buys a washing machine.
Hmm.
And there is a set criteria that he uses to evaluate between brands in that segment.
Hmm.
Does that change very much? It doesn't. So
Hmm.
if you understand the customer and his needs and his fears and his decision making process, then that is applicable across categories. Yeah. Some high value categories, the evaluation may be a little more rigorous. In low value, low risk categories, evaluation may be less rigorous.
Hmm.
But evaluation is criteria is quite similar. And that doesn't change. And that's common across. So you need to understand the customer, the pain points, the needs you're fulfilling, and are you able to fulfill them or not? As long as you focus your day around these things, rest follows.
Hmm.
Rest is easy. Rest is operations.
So now people who are reporting into you can't even have that excuse because you have worked in 6 industries and they can't even say that worked in that industry, not in this
And by the way,
industry.
we prefer not to hire from our industry
Okay.
unless there is some core uh,
Subject matter expertise
subject
or
matter
functional
expertise
knowledge that you
required.
need.
Yeah, for example, technology part of our business has to come from this kind of a business
Yeah.
only. But all other functions, people have worked in all kinds of sectors
Hmm.
because then they don't come with a bias.
Yeah.
They actually come with knowledge from outside,
Hmm.
which can be applied here.
Yeah. So now that you have seen this industry grow and change, and this industry is in the middle of a big change right now.
Always is, any
Always,
industry is
any
all the
industry
times.
is. So what are you doing to stay ahead of the race as a CEO, or how are you inspiring your leaders to keep ready for the change, keep reinventing? What is your message to yourself and to your
Keep an eye on
leaders?
the customer. I mean, like uh, from the time, see, my first 15 odd years was spent in FMCG.
Yeah,
My last 25 years have been spent in telecom and media. So that was FMCG. This is also FMCG. That is fast moving consumer goods. These are faster moving consumer goods.
yeah,
They're both consumer goods
yeah.
because consumers buy them. So for that, it's important for you to understand the consumer
Hmm.
and the consumer's attitudes and what is available to him and his lifestyle is and needs therefore are continuously changing. They're not
Hmm.
static. So therefore, from time to time, you have to go and check with that person
Yeah,
as to what his worldview of life is, for which you have to go and meet him.
yeah,
And have to meet him in his home, in his workplace. So you must travel
yeah.
and meet customers on a regular basis. So unless and until your people are not accustomed to go and meet the customer in his place of living or place of work on an ongoing basis, they will
Hmm.
not know what to produce for him.
Hmm.
So that's something that we do as
Okay.
a religion,
Yeah.
and that's helped us.
Okay.
So whether it is an FMCG
Yeah.
or whether it is now, every time you come to a kind of a crossroad and you don't know which way to go, चलो customer को मिल के आते हैं.
Yeah.
So all of us go out and spend about a couple of days in various markets
Yeah.
and come back and put our heads together and say क्या 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 सूझा, and
Hmm.
the answers are very clear.
Yeah. I am expecting the answer to be very similar to the next one, but you spoke about how do you gauge or measure the customer's pulse by meeting them. What do you do to stay on top of your employee pulse and what's happening in your different parts of your organization? How do you have your ears to the ground level and what's happening
So we broke
across?
all cabins to start with
Hmm.
in the office. So we don't have any rooms where
Okay.
people sit. Even I sit on the outside.
Yeah.
We have an open office with free seating.
Hmm.
I was the only one who were forced to. They said you have to sit in a fixed seat because
Yeah.
we don't want you roaming around all over the place. So you have a fixed seat, but it's also in the open.
Yeah.
So, but nobody can stop me from roaming around. And once you break walls
Hmm.
between people
Yeah.
and make them sit in groups, cross-functional groups, and not like this is the marketing area, this is the commercial area, this is finance, and this is where HR will sit.
Yeah.
And people sit with people who they're working with today or this part of the day. And then you walk around those people,
Hmm.
you can get a sense of
Okay.
what's cooking where.
Yeah. But you have widespread population across various cities. How do you ensure that the
So you go
same
to
thing
various
is
cities.
so you keep traveling?
You travel to various places.
Hmm.
When you go into the so there are people in the field
Yeah.
who are the sales and the field service people. So you travel with them, and you
Hmm.
don't have to travel with the entire universe. You have to travel with a sample.
Yeah.
And that gives you the pulse of what are they feeling, what are the pains they have which are not addressed,
Hmm.
what are their thoughts.
Yeah.
Uh, 2 दिन आप घूमिए किसी के साथ, you will get to know everything.
Hmm. So what's your thought on, hybrid work culture and how do you make it work for your organization?
So there is no simple answer for this.
Hmm.
Clearly, there is no simple answer for this. How it's worked for us,
Yeah.
our thought process was that we've moved from the industrial age to knowledge workers.
Hmm.
Not the entire organization is knowledge workers.
Yeah.
Some people are still, some jobs still have to be done. For example, if I'm a salesman,
Yeah.
I have to go to my customers to sell.
Yeah.
If I'm a service person, I have to go and service the person's equipment in the person's home. I can't do it from my home.
Yeah.
If I'm a technologist, I have to come to the place from where the signal goes to the satellite and comes down.
Hmm.
I can't be doing that from my home.
Yeah.
Uh, Also, for a knowledge worker, also, there are some parts of the job that need to be done with the colleagues in the same room.
Hmm.
And there are some parts of the job that can be done very efficiently from a remote location.
Hmm.
So you divide that. So there are some roles where people have to come to work.
Yeah.
And there are some roles where you don't come every day. And to us, it's been like when you're whiteboard thinking
Hmm.
or you're planning things in the abstract about the future,
Yeah.
then you have to be sitting in the same room
Hmm.
to throw whiteboard markers at each other,
Hmm.
have a dispute, have a fight, have an argument, and come to a conclusion.
Hmm.
That needs some amount of free flow,
Yeah.
both in terms of thought and time. So that cannot be done as efficiently on a video call.
Hmm.
But once you've already decided the course and you're reviewing that,
Yeah.
that actually happens more efficiently when it's online
Hmm.
because there is a purpose, there is an agenda, and there's a time limit.
Yeah.
You have an hour, guys. You have to come to a conclusion on this one. If the meeting started at 3 and it's going to end at 4, people have to go to other meetings at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you have to come to a conclusion, good, bad, or ugly, by 4 o'clock. There's a time limit to this. You're only reviewing
Hmm.
something that's already started.
After a long time, I've heard somebody use the word knowledge worker, Industrial Revolution 3.0, 1980s. But I think that's exactly the thought process that went into it. You wanted to move away from, people who were large labor intensive to more procedural based work, something which could be done,
And
in
also,
your
you
offices.
asked towards how do you manage output
Yeah.
in an environment like this? I think we've forgotten that it's only in the industrial era that you had to produce certain number of pieces in certain number of
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
A knowledge worker is not,
Yeah.
he's got a task that he has to deliver.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think some of the organizations struggling with, similarly what you're saying, if half my organization is a knowledge work, half of organization has to be on the field or in the office. They're already always conflicted between, these guys, this set of people saying, if I am 5 days in a week in office, why not,
It's
the
not a
others?
punishment. Coming
Yeah.
to office is not a punishment. Staying at home is not a privilege.
Yeah.
Your work, I mean, for example, the days that I work in at home, I'm probably working longer hours than I'm working
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the
Because
office.
because
So
there's no scheduled end to the day when you get into your car and
it's not a
go home.
privilege. I mean, working from home or coming to office, one is not a privilege, the other is not a punishment.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. People have to stop taking this as a punishment. That's the requirement of the role and job that you're playing.
Yeah, and we chose that profession.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think when we talk about knowledge workers and how you hybrid has worked for you at Tata Play, and but now there's also a lot of industry is always changing, but there's a lot of talk about AI and how AI is disrupting the way we consume information. And there's also a lot of fake news. So how do you also ensure that your employees, your people who are part of Tata Play are also, upscaling themselves, reskilling, because upskilling and reskilling is one of the biggest, change enablers that we are seeing coming from employers. There's a lot of anxiety right now. Discretionary efforts, people will put in extra effort to get the work done, is going down actually in India Inc. People do not want to work extra to get the job done. So how do you ensure that, people are realistic in what AI and technology can do, but also not totally blindsided by when it's going to hit them?
Yeah, we are making a little too much noise about AI more than what we should be.
Hmm.
Yes, it is disruptive.
Yeah.
But somebody like me who started working, like I said, exactly 40 years today, when I came to work, the only piece of technology that we had access to was an Casio FX31 calculator. There were no mobile phones, there were no
Yeah.
faxes,
Hmm.
there were no emails, there were no computers, there was not even an IT department. It was called an MIS function.
Hmm.
It wasn't called the IT department. IT तो तब होती जब टेक्नोलॉजी होती.
Yeah.
टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं थी तो IT कहाँ से होती? And we've seen the advent of one after the other, all these things.
Hmm.
Letters used to travel by snail mail, not email.
Yeah.
We used to assume कि आज मैं लिखूंगा एक रिपोर्ट तो 3 दिन के में पहुंचेगी कहीं पर. फिर वो उसको रिव्यू करेंगे
Hmm.
and then they will act on it and then they will respond to it and they'll come back to me after 3 days.
Hmm.
So a week would go in one conversation.
Yeah.
Now it's instant, online, real time.
Yeah.
What happened? Did we not retrain ourselves for each of these things? For email, for mobile phones, for pagers in between, for Google? We use anything you wanted to search or research. You found a library and then you went there and you borrowed a book or you sat there if they didn't have a copy which could be lent and you sat there hours and read through that. Today you Google on the fly and now you're chat GPTing on the fly.
Yeah.
So you are able to do much more, handle more data and make more sense of it faster. And what does that leave you with? Less grunt labor time,
Hmm.
in which you can think higher order, higher
Yeah.
quality strategies and next steps and next things to do, and yet have some time to relax, to free your mind, to connect the dots in your head of the various pieces of data that you keep collecting all through the day. So you're only getting wiser, better,
But Harit, the
and more
challenge
productive.
is there are tons of people who only make their job by doing the grunt work,
अरे बट
and the
हम भी तो सीख गए ना यार.
speed of change is so fast that they are not able to connect the dots and say this is going to hit me like a lightning, and I will not have a clue. I understand people who should not be doing that work will have more time to connect to their talk to their customers and do some strategic thinking or think, the next level thinking, next order thinking. But there are tons of people in India who just do that grunt work, and
Grunt
they're
work will change. For example, this country had couriers.
yeah.
This country had tel- telecallers who
Hmm.
were receiving and making calls. Then, when that got automated, they got to other grunt work jobs like 10-minute delivery.
Yeah.
And these things will keep reinventing.
Hmm.
And skilling people for these, or code writing,
Yeah.
and skilling people for these jobs doesn't take a lifetime.
Hmm.
And people skill very quickly
Yeah.
for a new job. So, yeah, I agree. In a pyramid, the bottom is always heavier. But that bottom is easy to reskill.
Okay.
And you got evidence of that over the years.
Hmm.
There are less unemployed people or underemployed people today than there were 20 years ago. Sure, people have reskilled
Yeah.
and they will. They will continue. New roles will appear
Hmm.
because of AI. More roles will appear. More jobs will have to be done. In the end, execution भी तो करनी होती है.
Yeah.
कौन करेगा? You need human beings for that.
Yeah. I think India is a country where you still have lift operators, so we still some way away from that.
There are various things. There are various roles. I mean, we in our lifetimes have seen emergence of call center operators, delivery people, code
Hmm.
writers.
Yeah.
I'm not putting them all in the same category,
Yeah, understood. I think
but the
it's about
numbers
three
that
people
these
every.
industries have employed over
Yeah.
the years is like huge.
Yeah. Okay. So, with all this change that's happening, people are reinventing, reskilling. What will be your advice to someone who is graduating, joining workforce, or in the first few years of their, career? What would be your advice to them?
When we step out of a college,
Hmm.
whether it's undergrad, postgrad, or no grad, and get into the workforce, uh, we have fixed notions of this is what I want to be,
Hmm.
or this is where I want to reach, or this is the field I want to work in. And I don't think we know anything about the industry at that or even our own aptitude
Hmm.
as to what am I good at. So I think the first 2, 3 years you should experiment with as many roles as you can
Hmm.
to figure out is A, what do you like, and B, what are you good at? And then decide what you really want to be. That's the first part.
Hmm.
डोंट डिसाइड कि मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है या इंजीनियर बनना है या मेरे को मार्केटिंग में जाना है मुझे सेल्स करनी है या मैं टेक्नोलॉजी में करना है यू आर मेकिंग these decisions without even knowing what you're good at and what you like.
Hmm.
First figure out what do you like and what are you good at by dabbling with these things,
Hmm.
and then decide which one of these you want to get into.
Hmm.
Otherwise you'll be square pegs in round holes.
Hmm.
That's one. And second thing is, like they say, that if you want to be seen as a funny man, they don't go around telling people that I'm funny.
Yeah.
Learn to tell jokes. And then when you tell many jokes, people will say that you're funny. Similarly, you don't start your career by saying, I want to be the marketing manager, I want to be the CEO, or I want to be rich. And I mean a lot of people, they say, okay, I want to be rich by 40 and then I want to quit or something like that.
Yeah, the fire thing.
And I'm saying that can't be the goal. That is an outcome.
Hmm.
Find something that you like, find something that you're good at, and work your way towards it. Work hard towards it.
Hmm.
Work smart towards it. The outcome will happen.
Yeah.
We've all grown like that.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't have a clue as to what we wanted to
But
become,
hindsight
right?
is always 2020, no? Like,
Hindsight is 2020. Even then, but we didn't have a clue,
yeah.
frankly. India was an emerging economy. Roles were unclear. We stumbled upon some of them. Some places we were lucky. Some places we were unlucky. We missed those buses.
Yeah.
Uh, हो गया.
So, last two questions, Harit, and then we do a quick rapid fire. What is it that you look for a leader that you want to hire in your team? What are those traits, or what is that one thing that you always ask in an interview, and what is it that you're looking for?
Attitude, attitude, attitude.
Hmm.
Outlook, outlook, outlook. Positivity, positivity, positivity.
Hmm.
Because, most of the time, you don't even know the kind of problems you'll face, and problems you'll face every day.
Yeah.
You approach the problem by saying, oh shit, problem हो गई.
Hmm.
तो आधा बैटल तो वहीं गया. But if you say, okay, problem हो गई, fine, let's find a way.
Yeah.
How can we solve it? I have a famous thing which I've stated earlier on many occasions, which say that when a person comes in for when the finally 3, 4 levels have seen the person and they finally bring him to me, what is it that I ask? My opening line to most people has been, now the secret is out, so now I won't be asking that. Is that, so how was your journey coming here?
Hmm.
And if the person talks about the potholes, the daily traffic jams, the missed bus or the taxi Uber that did not come or something like that, it means he's a problem centered person.
Hmm.
If the person is smiling about the problems we had on the way and he said, but yeah, I still managed, don't worry.
Yeah.
Everything was good. It was enjoyable coming here and around. Then he's a positive outlook person. He'll
Hmm.
find his way through a problem. Because most of the times we don't even know the problems that will come our way. So it's attitude
Hmm.
that you look for. Skill तो आती है, सीख जाते हैं
Yeah.
लोग.
And what's that best? Of course, you would have received a lot of leadership advice when you were, growing up. What's that leadership advice that has stayed with you?
Listen to the customer, listen to the customer, listen to the customer.
Okay. And did that come from many different leaders in different ways,
A
or was
few,
there
not
one
many,
person that
not many.
influenced
Most
you a
people
lot?
said work hard,
Okay.
but some said listen to the customer,
Okay.
and that stayed,
Hmm.
and that worked.
Okay. Okay. And we'll move to a quick rapid fire, Harit, now.
I hate rapid
Okay.
fires, but I'll go along with
But
you.
it's okay. We'll slow it down by point 0.5
Okay, so slow
for
fire
you. Yeah. No, we'll speed up when playing the
while playing it.
podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, so, what's that one leadership decision that you had to make, that was very tough in your career and that fundamentally changed the way you operate or you think?
The decisions that have been tough are to shut down what we've started
Hmm.
as an experiment
Hmm.
because you get so emotionally involved with it because first of all it's your brainchild,
Yeah.
and then you still have a little bit of lingering hope
Hmm.
that हो सकता है 5 साल और दे दें तो चल जाएगा
Yeah.
या 3 साल और दे दें तो it'll work. So shutting those things down is very difficult
Hmm.
sometimes, and there have been many
Hmm.
along the way.
Okay.
They've been tough ones.
Who's that leader that you looked up to, or look up to today also? One.
There have been many, but I think uh, the one person who I've admired most uh, was Steve Jobs.
Hmm.
I haven't still read his book,
Okay.
but what I've seen of the way he operated
Yeah.
uh, from obviously third party sources uh, has been very inspiring.
Hmm. And since you told you haven't read his book, but what are some of the books that you read and your couple of your favorite books?
I'm an avid reader
So which ones
and
have
I
stayed with
write
you?
also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so many books inspired me, but yeah, some of them, I would say one that I read very early was Stephen Covey's Seven Habits.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a foundational book. If
Yeah.
anybody's not read it, please go pick up a copy now. And I know it's a 25, 30-year-old book,
Yeah.
but it's relevant, equally relevant even today.
Hmm.
So books like those have been foundational to
Hmm.
the way of thinking.
Okay. And a skill that you think every professional must have.
Storytelling, very critical.
Hmm.
Because half the time, even if you're in charge of a small team or a very large team, your job is to align everybody towards the objective you have.
Hmm.
And people are at different levels
Hmm.
in terms of their imagination of what you are imagining. So if you have to get everybody to your level of imagination of what you are imagining of the future and work towards it, then you have to weave a story to align them towards your vision
Yeah.
so that they work towards one common goal. So if you're a leader of a small 4 member team,
Yeah.
project team, or a large company, ability to articulate that in a story that aligns everyone, critical.
What's that one habit that keeps you sane and takes care of your well-being and something that you also tell your leaders and employees? Um,
The one thing that I've practiced in and has helped me a lot is my do nothing hour every
hmm.
day. There's at least 1 or 2 hours I keep aside when I do nothing.
Hmm.
It's either taking a walk with some inane old music, which I've heard 5,000 times before,
Yeah.
or watching a meaningless soap, which you don't have to use your mind to
Yeah.
understand. And that's the time. See, all of us are gathering a lot of data points through the day,
Hmm.
but those data points don't connect,
Yeah.
and you can't force connect them. They always connect in a vacuum when you're
Yeah.
not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you have to have that hour
So
of
you
doing
need to
nothing.
have that time where they can connect.
For example, I mean, Newton discovered the gravity laws sitting under a tree.
Yeah.
Another guy discovered it in a bathtub.
Yeah.
What were they doing? Those are do nothing hours.
Yeah.
That's what connected the dots of the
Yeah.
various data points that they had.
Yeah.
So you're gathering data all day, but you don't give them space and time in the
Yeah.
vacuum to connect.
And the next morning you're connecting another whole lot of data again.
And you're back to collecting more data.
Yeah.
So you have to have some idle time in the day.
No, that's I like that one. I like that one. Okay, my last question. A leadership myth that you think must go away?
That a leader has to have all the answers
Yeah.
to every question.
Yeah.
And every new idea has to come from the leader. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's
It's
that's total bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, with that, Harit, thank you. Pleasure talking to you. And as always, your always honest conversations strike a bell. And I can already connect with some of the things that you have said. And thank you again for your time and hosting us. Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.